31 participants, 31 students. I am going to start the lecture. So yesterday was our first lecture. It was on introduction of the course, and today we will dive into the first topic, which is on the working of four-stroke engine. Of course, we did cover some portion of the component of IC engine yesterday. I told you about the constructional feature, about the piston cylinder arrangement yesterday. So today we'll see how does a four-stroke engine work, and our focus is on spark ignition engine today, and then we'll see what difference it make if it is not a spark ignited engine and if it's compression ignited engine. So a quick recap. I showed you this figure yesterday, and I said that there is a cylinder and there's a piston which reciprocates inside the cylinder. There's a connecting rod. The bottom portion is the crankcase. Then there are channel for circulation of cooling oil or water in the cylinder. Air fuel mixture enters the cylinder via this passage, which is called inlet manifold. There is an inlet valve which opens or closes inlet manifold. And if it's spark ignited engine, there is a spark plug. And after combustion, exhaust gases moves out of the cylinder from the exhaust manifold. Again, there is an exhaust valve to open and close this exhaust manifold passage. Product of combustion moves out from the exhaust manifold. So this passage is the exhaust manifold, and this is the inlet manifold. This is a single cylinder arrangement. In usually in automobile, there are number of cylinders which are attached, which may be in series connection or which may be in V connection or parallel connection. That will see how different cylinders or how different connecting rod are connected on the crankshaft. So this figure also I showed you yesterday. I said that there are two positions of the piston. The topmost position is called top dead center, and when the piston is at the bottommost position, this is called bottom dead center, and the distance between this is the stroke length, denoted by a capital L here, and the volume swept by the piston is called swept volume. When piston is at top dead center, the volume in the cylinder is the clearance volume. So when piston is at bottom dead center, the volume in the cylinder is clearance volume plus swept volume. So if you want to find out compression ratio, then that should be equal to volume inside the cylinder before compression, which is equal to Vc plus Vs, divided by volume after the compression, which is equal to Vc. So ratio of Vc plus Vs and Vc is the compression ratio. So this is denoted by R. This is the same thing which we used while we derive derivation of an expression of efficiency of engine for Otto cycle. Well, the slide is not changing. Okay, this I did not show you yesterday, but it's an example that if initial volume is say 1 unit and after movement of piston it's 6 unit. So swept volume is 5 unit and clearance volume is 1 unit. In this case, the compression ratio is 6/1, which is equal to 6. So we'll do few numericals for calculation of the compression ratio when engine dimensions are given. That we'll do tomorrow. Today, let's focus on the working of a four-stroke cycle. So what does four-stroke means? Four-stroke are equivalent to 2 revolution of the crankshaft. Now each stroke corresponds to 180 degree of the crankshaft rotation. Now one cycle is completed through 2 rotation. That means 180 plus 180 plus 180 plus 180 is equal to 720 degree of crank rotation. And during this 720 degree of crank rotation, these 5 events take place inside the engine cylinder. Suction of the charge, compression of the charge. Charge means air fuel mixture. Then combustion of the air fuel mixture, expansion and exhaust. So these 5 events take place in this 4 stroke of the piston movement. So these strokes are called suction or intake stroke, then compression stroke, then expansion or power stroke, and exhaust stroke. So there is no separate stroke for combustion. Combustion takes place towards the end of the compression stroke or towards the beginning of the expansion stroke. So we'll see what happens in each of these strokes. If you can see this animation on right hand side, so right side is the intake manifold. So in one of the stroke, when piston is moving from top dead center towards bottom dead center, this blue color represent unburnt air fuel mixture, fresh air fuel mixture which enters the cylinder. So when piston moves to bottom position, it changes its direction, moves up, and as it moves up, the yellow color, it represents the compression stroke, and towards the end of the compression stroke, the color changes to red. So there is ignition and flame develops inside the combustion chamber, which burn the air fuel mixture, and it also pushes the expanding gases, pushes the piston in the downward direction, which moves the crankshaft. And when piston moves to bottom dead center position, then this again exhaust valve opens up, and towards its movement from bottom dead center to top dead center, it pushes the burned gases through this exhaust manifold. So the movement of inlet valve and exhaust valve is governed by a separate mechanism. There are different shafts, which are called cam shaft, on which cams are mounted, which pushes these valves to open the passage going from inlet manifold to the engine. So these are 4 strokes. So let's compare the working of these strokes with our understanding of the cycles. We have studied this cycle. This is a schematic. This is a graphical representation of Otto cycle. So pressure on y-axis, volume on x-axis. You have studied about this process, isoentropic compression, then constant volume heat addition, then isoentropic expansion, then constant volume heat rejection. Now, since we are not recirculating the fuel, there is a suction of the charge and exhaust of the charge, which is represented by 0, 1 and 5, 1 line also. So this additional line represents suction and exhaust of the charge from the engine. So what happens in suction stroke? Volume changes from Vc to Vc plus Vs. So 0 to 1 is the suction stroke. Piston moves in the downward direction. Inlet valves open up. Fresh air fuel mixture enters the cylinder. So the suction stroke starts when the piston is at the top dead center and about to move in the downward direction. Now this is a theoretical diagram. So it is assumed that the inlet valve is open instantaneously, and at this time the exhaust valve is in a closed position. This is open and this exhaust valve is closed. Now, due to suction created, since piston is moving in the downward direction, so suction is created in this space because of the motion of the piston. So this suction sucks the charge in. So the pressure in here is less than pressure outside. So it sucks the charge in, which consists of fuel air mixture. And when the piston reaches the bottom dead center, the suction stroke ends and the inlet valve closes instantaneously. Now this is the series of steps for the suction stroke. Now when piston is at the bottom dead center position, the direction of motion changes because of the rotation of the crankshaft, and this suction has already taken place 0 to 1. So next step is compression of the charge. So 1 to 2 is the compression stroke. So what happens in the compression stroke? This charge which is already taken in the cylinder during the suction stroke is compressed by the return stroke of the piston. Now piston is moving in the upward direction. Both inlet and exhaust valves are in closed position, and the mixture which fills the entire cylinder is compressed into the clearance volume. At the end of the compression stroke, the mixture is ignited. So when piston reaches to top dead center, when the volume is equal to Vc in the cylinder, then ignition takes place. So this is represented by process 2-3. In case of a spark ignition engine, it's the ignition is initiated by a spark plug mounted on the top wall of the cylinder. Now in ideal engine, it is assumed that burning takes place instantaneously when the piston is at the top dead center. So this 2-3 process represents burning or combustion of the charge. Now the temperature of the combustion rises, maybe depends upon the air fuel mixture and the type of fuel, but it's of the order of 2000 degrees centigrade. And because the temperature is high, the pressures are also high. What happens then? Now the expanding gases pushes the piston. So expansion of the gases take place. This stroke is called expansion or power stroke. So now piston has changed its direction. Now it's again moving from top dead center toward the bottom dead center. Both the valves are closed. So high pressure of the burnt gases, it forces the piston towards the bottom dead center position. Both the valves are in closed position, and out of these 4 strokes, only during this stroke power is produced, and both pressure and temperature decreases because of the expansion. Then comes the last stroke, exhaust stroke. So this is represented by 4-5-2-0. So 4-5-0 is the exhaust stroke. The exhaust valves open instantaneously and the inlet valve remains closed. The pressure falls to atmospheric level and a part of the burnt gases escape. Piston starts moving from the bottom dead center to top dead center. Piston sweeps the burnt gases out of the cylinder almost at atmospheric pressure. Exhaust valve closes when the piston reaches top dead center. Residual gases mix with the fresh charge coming in during the next cycle, forming its working fluid. What happens is when piston has reached to the top dead center, now inlet valve will open again for the next cycle. One cycle gets completed and now fresh charge enters. Now there is already burnt gases here in the clearance volume, so it gets mixed with the fresh charge, and this mixture forms the fresh charge or the working fluid for the next cycle. So these are the working of 4 strokes in a 4-stroke SI engine.
Sir, could you go back to the cycle which was before exhaust stroke?
Before exhaust stroke was the power stroke.
Yes, sir, power stroke.
This is also called expansion stroke. So what happens is combustion takes place, as this PV diagram represents that the combustion is at an instant when the volume is equal to clearance volume. That means when piston is at top dead center position, the combustion takes place. Now, air fuel mixture, the fuel can be vapors of petrol, it can be CNG gas. So air plus fuel mixture, it burns. So when it burns, then temperature increases, temperature rises up to an order of 2000 degrees centigrade. So because of rise in temperature, pressure also increases, and this pressure or the expanding gases, you can say, it pushes the piston from top dead center to bottom dead center. So this stroke, this is the power stroke. This is the only stroke where the gases are working on the piston. They are pushing the piston. In all other three strokes, the movement of piston was because of the crankshaft rotation. So it has some inertia. So once you push the piston, once the gases push the piston, so during this half rotation of the crankshaft, the piston is get pushed, and then another 1.5 rotation piston, the crankshaft moves by itself. So out of these 4 strokes, only 1 stroke is the power stroke. So you can say out of this 2 complete cycle of crankshaft, only half cycle, 25% of the cycle, out of 2, only 0.5 is the instant, is the duration where we get power from burning of fuel air mixture. For rest of the movement is taking place because of the inertia of the driven component. Sorry. Yes, anyone, any doubt?
No, sir.
No doubt.
No, sir.
I can see 36 students.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, yes.
So basically, when the piston goes back to the top dead center again, when the mixture is there in the cylinder, so the ignition takes place at that time through spark plug.
Okay. See, I said 1 is the 0 to 1 is the suction, 1 to 2 is the compression, and when piston is at top dead center, it's not going towards top dead center. According to this figure, when the piston is at top dead center, combustion takes place instantaneously. Now this word has a specific meaning. Instantaneously means during the entire process of combustion, this piston is not moving. The volume inside the cylinder is VC only. So at this instant, combustion takes place, entire pressure rise, temperature rise take place. When the movement, when the volume in the cylinder is VC, and then after that, piston starts moving because of the power stroke in 3/4 process. Do you get my point?
Yes, I get your point.
But it doesn't happen like this in actual engines. So these are all again idealized phenomena. So what happens in actual cycle? See, actually the combustion needs some time. You cannot say like within a fraction of second, not even second, within a fraction of millisecond, not even millisecond, micro nanoseconds, piston is moving with a very high speed. So one cycle, if you just do some calculation, if the RPM of the engine is 600, then probably one cycle takes place in say 12 or 15 milliseconds. You can do that kind of calculation. So here, even a fraction of that 12 millisecond, even 2-3 millisecond duration. So even then too, this line cannot be vertical. So since the piston is not stationary, it's continuously moving. When the piston is continuously moving, so you cannot have a vertical line for combustion process. So there has to be some kind of curve for the which represent the combustion process. So what I'm saying is this is all theoretical. The second, we can say analogy or second, this thing. The difference between ideal and actual process is this opening and closing of the cylinder, and it cannot take place instantaneously. You cannot say, okay, exactly at point 3, the exhaust valve gets open up and the charge it starts moving out. No, it doesn't happen like this, because opening and closing of the valve needs some time. Valve has to move to create this space. So this movement needs some time. So you need to give some time for opening and closing of the valves. So what happens in actual case, you just compare ideal and actual process. Before that, this is again an animation I posted. An animation similar to this on this channel. So this is a 4-cylinder engine. So in each of this cylinder, one of the stroke is taking place. If one is having suction, another might be having ignition, the third one might be having compression, the fourth might be having power stroke. And the top, you can see 2 shafts which are connected by the crankshaft via timing gear. So when this crankshaft is rotating, a part of the energy of the crankshaft is spent in moving these 2 camshafts. So there are cams mounted. So these irregular circular devices, these are called cam. You will be studying about them in detail in your kinematics of machine course. So these cam, they pushes the piston rod, which will open and close the inlet and exhaust opening. There can be 2 inlet valve and 2 exhaust valve for a single cylinder for quick entering and moving out of the charge. So that's why we have, you might have seen these words written 16 valves.
Yes, sir.
What is that? 16 valve DOSC, double overhead camshaft. So 16 valves means 4 valve per cylinder. You multiply this by 4, you will get 16 valves. So this engine can be set 16 valve double overhead camshaft. And then you can add few more words. We'll be studying about those in detail. What is VVTI, and these words are written while you see.
I have a question, sir. Hello. Sir, over here, the inlet and the exhaust valve, the one which we saw, like there was one inlet valve, and then there was the exhaust valve which was there. Right. And then there was this inlet manifold and then an exhaust manifold. Right. So in this practical 3D diagram which is running right now on the screen, there are 4 valves which are there. So 2 are inlet, 2 are exhaust, or they are different?
Right. In this particular animation, 2 are inlet and 2 are exhaust. The inlet manifold and exhaust manifold is not shown in this diagram, but there are automobiles, there are cars, there are engines which have 3 valves, 1 inlet and 2 exhaust. So earlier in olden days, say in 90s or 80s, the automobiles used to have 1 inlet and 1 exhaust valve. So this is a relatively new concept. Now most of the automobile engines have, most of the car engines have 2 inlet and 2 exhaust valves.
What is the reason behind it? Like earlier they used to have 1.
That will be studying in detail. Keep that question for future.
Okay, understood.
So we'll draw a valve timing diagram. So what is a valve timing diagram? This you will also do in your practicals. Maybe tomorrow when you come to the lab, or day after tomorrow, you will be told about how to draw valve timing diagram of an engine, and you will draw it actually for the given engine. Now today I'll tell you what does valve timing diagram means. It's a graphical representation of the opening and closing of the intake and exhaust valve of the engine. The opening and closing of the valve of the engine depends upon the movement of the piston from top dead center and bottom dead center. So the animation which I showed doesn't have this kind of arrangement, rocker arm. It was a simple animation, but in actual engine there is a cam and there is a cam follower which follow the motion of the cam. So it's not circular. You can see a lobe here. So when this device rotates, then when this projection comes in contact with the follower rises up. It pushes this rod. This rod is called push rod, which in fact moves this rocker arm. So there's a pin joint here. So when this portion moves up, this portion moves down, and this is this in contact with the valve. So this is the valve, and this rests on this bearing. You can say it's called valve seat, and there are spring. So this round small circle, they represent the cross section of the valve. So this is the entire valve opening and closing mechanism. This can be vertical or this can also be inclined. Now you can see that when this lobe it moves and when this follower comes in contact with this point, then during this entire position, this entire duration of rotation of this cam, the follower moves, it reaches to top position and then it comes down. So it takes some time for opening and closing of the valve. This is a theoretical diagram. Now what happens actually? Okay, let us first draw a theoretical sorry. Let us first draw a theoretical valve timing diagram, just to understand what does valve timing diagram means, and then I'll tell you how to draw actual valve timing diagram. So IVO stands for inlet valve open. So at point 0, inlet valves open, and 0 to 1 is the suction stroke. So we draw a half circle which represents suction stroke, and at point 1 inlet valve closes. So IVG is inlet valve closes. This position is top dead center position and this position is the bottom dead center position. And then from 1 to 2 is the compression stroke. So 1 to 2 is the compression stroke. Now when piston is at point 2, combustion takes place. So 2, 3 is just 2 and 3 are the same point here at the top dead center position. And then from 3 to 4, we get expansion stroke or the power stroke. And then from 4 to 1, we get exhaust stroke. So at point 0, inlet valves open. At point 1, inlet valve closes. Then compression stroke. At point 2, exhaust valve closes. Then combustion takes place 2 and 3. And then from 3 to 4, we have power stroke. At point 4, exhaust valve opens and exhaust stroke takes place. And at point 5, exhaust valve closes. So this diagram is the theoretical diagram. Now, as I just said, that opening and closing of the valve is not instantaneous. It takes some time. So it's not initiated at that center position. Inlet valve opening can be slightly before top dead center position, and then you can have a suction stroke and charge is being sucked in, and and at point 1 also some charge is coming in because of the inertia, because of the movement of the piston. So you can take advantage of that momentum of flowing of the charge in inlet manifold, and do not close inlet valve at point 1, closes after some time. So then your suction stroke becomes starts slightly before point 0 and ends slightly after point 1. So this entire term, and then we have compression, combustion, and then again exhaust valve can be open slightly before bottom dead center position, and then exhaust take place, and some exhaust gases remains at this point. Inlet valve already open for the next cycle slightly before top dead center. Now you can take advantage. You can take this inlet gases coming in. They will push the exhaust gases. So you can take advantage of that phenomena, And do not close the exhaust valve at top dead center position. Go slightly after top dead center position. So exhaust closes after slightly exhaust top dead center position. Clear the gases from the clearance volume, and you get more of fresh charge. So if you draw actual valve timing diagram, is the animation visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I hope it's now on full screen.
Yes, sir.
So now piston is moving from bottom dead center to top dead center position. Now piston has not reached to top dead center position. And inlet valve starts opening. It's open. So inlet valve, intake valve opens. So we start from this point. We are drawing actual valve timing diagram here. So this point is top dead center. This point is bottom dead center position. So this is the suction stroke. And inlet valve closes slightly after bottom dead center position. The piston has changes its direction. The reversal of the direction takes. Okay. You first see this, and then I'll explain. So you have been asked to draw a valve timing diagram. This was for CI engine, but SI engine also is similar. Instead of this injector, there is a spark plug. So if somebody asks you to draw valve timing diagram, I'm rerunning this animation. So inlet valve opens. This is point somewhere here. If you can see cursor of my mouse on PV diagram. And now the volume increases and the pressure is less than the atmospheric pressure. The suction takes place. After reversal of the direction, inlet valve closes. So IVC is somewhere here. And then compression takes place. And somewhere here, if it's SI engine, ignition initiated or if it's CI engine, then injection take place. And now from this point, now the direction changes. Up to this point is combustion. Combustion is almost very close to top dead center position, but though it's not vertical line. And then expansion takes place. And before reaching to bottom dead center, exhaust valve open. And when the exhaust is moving out, the pressure in the cylinder is slightly higher than the atmospheric pressure. Then only the flow will take place from a cylinder to outside. And here inlet valve opens up for the next cycle, and here exhaust valve closes for the previous cycle. So this is valve overlap period. So this is actual, you can say, representation of the cycle, considering opening and closing of the valve and considering time required for combustion process and time required for intake and exhaust of the gases. There are two lobes. This is clockwise direction and this lobe is anti-clockwise direction. So work produced in clockwise direction and work is consumed in the anti-clockwise direction. If you remember the PV diagrams you studied in your thermal science class.
सर जैसे कि एक टाइम पे एग्जॉस्ट और इनलेट वाल्व दोनों खुला हुआ था सर, तो सर हम फ्रेश चार्ज को सर क्या लगता है ये एग्जॉस्ट गैसेस कैसे सेपरेट करेंगे सर फिर?
हाँ, सेपरेट नहीं करेंगी, ऐसा होता है
तो सर आपस में मिक्स हो जाएगा ना सर, फ्रेश चार्ज और एग्जॉस्ट दोनों आपस में मिक्स हो जाएगा, दोनों वाल्व एक टाइम पे खुला रहेगा।
बिल्कुल ऐसा ही होता है, एक्चुअल केस में ऐसा ही होता है। ऐसा इसलिए करते हैं क्योंकि कुछ कम इंजिन बोलते हैं। जब अभी अगर आपने सारा एग्जॉस्ट बाहर निकल गया, फिर एग्जॉस्ट वाल्व को बंद कर दिया और फिर अगले साइकिल का इनलेट वाल्व खोला, तो क्या होगा, इसके अंदर ज़्यादा अमाउंट में रेसिडुअल गैसेस रह जाएंगी। तो रेसिडुअल गैसेस का प्रोपोर्शन कम करने के लिए क्या करते हैं, एग्जॉस्ट वाल्व खुला है, बंद नहीं हुआ है, उससे पहले ही इनलेट वाल्व, अगले साइकिल का इनलेट वाल्व खोल दिया। तो क्या हुआ, यहाँ से फ्रेश चार्ज आ रहा है, जब ये अंदर घुसेगा तो जो अंदर है उसको धक्का भी तो देगा। तो जो अंदर रेसिडुअल गैसेज है वो यहाँ से निकल गई अगर ये खुला है तो, और फ्रेश चार्ज आ रहा है। और ये इस तरह से डिजाइन किया जाता है कि जब फ्रेश चार्ज मैक्सिमम अमाउंट ऑफ रेसिडुअल गैसेज निकल जाए, उस समय ये बंद हो जाए, फ्रेश चार्ज आता रहे। अभी पिस्टन नीचे मूव हो रहा है, फ्रेश चार्ज और आता रहेगा, लेकिन अब एग्जॉस्ट वाल्व बंद हो गया है। तो इसको डिजाइन इस तरह से किया जाता है कि मिनिमम अमाउंट ऑफ रेसिडुअल गैसेस पिछली साइकिल की रहे सिलेंडर के अंदर नेक्स्ट साइकिल में। This is the diagram which you may be asked to draw in your examination. So if somebody asks you draw a valve timing diagram of 4-stroke SI engine, then you need to draw these radial line representing inlet valve open and inlet valve closed, and exhaust valve open and exhaust valve closed, and then you represent the suction stroke, green color, the black color is the compression, the red color is the expansion, and this gray color is the exhaust. So all this thing along with this abbreviation, this is called the valve timing diagram of a 4-stroke SI engine.
Sir, hello, excuse me.
हाँ
सर, द वन विच यू हैड मेड, इससे पहले जो थियोरेटिकल आपने बोला था कि ऐसे बनता है रफ, वो नहीं बनाना, मतलब बेसिकली वो
अगर आपसे एग्जाम में पूछा जाए ड्रॉ थ्योरेटिकल वाल्व टाइमिंग डायग्राम, तो यह बनाना है। और पूछा जाए कि ड्रॉ वाल्व टाइमिंग डायग्राम और ड्रॉ एक्चुअल वाल्व टाइमिंग डायग्राम, तो वो बनाना है। और कंपेयर करने के लिए कहा जाए तो आपको कंपेयर करके बताना है।
ओके सर,
ये सवाल पूछा जाता है एग्जाम में, और ये मैंने आज जल्दी इसलिए ले लिया क्योंकि कल और परसों आप लोग लैब में आएंगे, तो आप इंजन को देख के या कैसे वाल्व टाइमिंग डायग्राम बनाना है अपने लैब असिस्टेंट से, टीचर से पूछ के और थोड़ा सा हाथ से बना के देखेंगे तो आपको ज़्यादा अच्छे से चीज़ समझ में आएगी। अदरवाइज आई वुड हैव टेकन दिस लेटर इन द कोर्स, बट सिंस योर लैब क्लास इज टुमारो, do see in the lab how to draw valve timing diagram. Okay, so we skip this portion, working of a CI engine and working of two-stroke engine, and we take this portion earlier only because you can do this experiment, or you can see how this experiment can be done in the lab tomorrow. That's all from my side today. Just wait for a moment. I'll download the attendance. Download attendance list. Yeah, download it. If you have any doubt, you can raise your hand. You can ask me question, or else you can leave the class, leave the meeting. We'll meet tomorrow. Half of the class will be meeting me tomorrow. I do not remember the time, and the another half, second half, will meet me day after tomorrow. But next 2 days you will be going in your lab, see actual engine, see piston, cylinder, valves, all those things are there in the lab, and see how to draw valve timing diagram. That's all from my side today. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.